Previously on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
I really think one of the biggest challenges of a minority owner, especially me being in my community, is really having to prove my concept in a way that I'm successful, even though I'm in the journey of creating the success. I didn't get to be the rebellious teenager because I was always trying to look for the next move to make sure that I wasn't subjected to that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we didn't know when we was going to eat.
Think about what you just said. Sometimes we didn't have anything to eat, and now you own two things that
Two
provide
bakeries.
food. How do you, as a father, as a Black man, as an opinion leader, and as a mentor to your community, look your son in the face and tell him violence is not the answer while your blood is boiling?
You know, that's a tough question. I just have to do it. And it's hard. It's really hard to do it. Because not always I want to say that. And even today, right? Like not always I want to say that. I'm like, I have my choice words that I feel. And it's okay if I say those to myself or even out loud, not in his presence, right? Because I want to demonstrate a behavior that is healthy. Because it's okay to communicate what you feel. It's okay that I'm upset. I'll tell him when we're talking, look, this happened. Yes, this made me upset. I am so upset. I cannot talk to you right now. And it's the same way. I expect him to come. Do not ignore me. Do not go slamming the doors in the house. But if you can't talk about something, express the emotion, and then we can talk about it later. And we can address that. And it's the same with dealing with those situations. It's okay to express the emotion. Look, Pierre, someone just sent me this message. It really upset me. In fact, I really kind of want to break down and cry.
Right.
But I can't do that. And so that he has empathy. He understands that I'm also a human.
Right.
And so now he sees a weakness and he sees strength. So now I'm emulating a behavior that is going to be also emulated so that he doesn't have a hypermasculinity. He knows it's okay to cry.
For sure.
And
I
you
was
close
just
the
gonna
door.
ask that.
You better cry. And if somebody making fun of you, call me and cry. And then don't rock with the person that's
Right.
making fun of you because clearly they can't communicate. They have a lot of therapy that they need to go through.
I got to ask you this. So do you accept and hope and tell your son it's okay that there's crying in the household?
I 100% accept that.
Why am I asking you that question?
It is okay because we are, as a Black man growing up, we are not to show our emotions, period. Oh, you got hit? You better shut up. Oh, what you crying for? Don't be a punk. Why are you a sissy?
Right.
All of those things. Don't be that way. Men don't cry. Go ahead. Go do this. Carry all the bags, right? I don't want to carry the bags. My back is going to hurt too. You know? My back going to hurt too just
Right.
because I'm the guy. I mean, I'm just saying. But it's all of those things that I can experience and that I feel right now. It's like I can feel it. I can feel it coming up. I remember all of those things where it creates this hyperfixation, right? I want to brush my hair. Oh, why are you always in the mirror? Why are you in the mirror putting on makeup? It's the same thing. As humans, we inherently seek for acceptance and attention and acknowledgement of our emotions. And I think that in my household, that behavior is absolutely okay. It is expected. When you don't, you're weird. When you don't communicate what's going on, what's going on? You're being strange right now. Like, you're weird. It's like, so don't be weird and tell me, and really, really embrace your emotions and tell me how you're feeling because it's okay. I'm not going to snap. If you tell me you don't want to talk to me right now, I'd rather that than you go slam the door because now I'm upset. Now the
really
door
gotta
coming
talk.
off,
Yeah.
right? Now you yelling, I'm yelling. Oh, now you're on punishment for a month. Now I have to deal with you for a month with stuff that I didn't really want to deal with for a month and you didn't want to deal with. So you're going to be sneaking out and doing all of this rebellious activities for the duration of your consequence. And it just becomes this endless cycle.
Do you feel, first I want to acknowledge what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love
you.
that your house is a safe space to talk about feelings and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is this. Do you feel that you and your son have a good, healthy relationship?
I do. I think that we have most of the time. Most of the time, I think that we have a good, healthy relationship. A lot of times I didn't know. I'll say it. I don't think that I was the best parent because this is me being the hardest person because I didn't know. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to deal with that, that problem. Or maybe like, because I told you so. I've had some of those because I told you so moments. And I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And I've went back and I've corrected it. But I think that our relationship is really good. He comes to me, he talks to me. He's a little too open about some of the things.
But he could be the polar opposite.
He could be the polar opposite. So I love when he comes and tells me about the stuff in between his toes, and all the other stuff. Yeah, the stuff in between his toes and all the other stuff. I'm like, goodness, child. Like some stuff you got to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we have healthy communication, and that we share stuff. In fact, even though we're in the same household, because I have custody of him, his mom and I aren't together.
Okay.
But even though we're in the same household, so we're the good mornings. It's literally like a hug and a kiss before he leave out the door, before I leave out the door. I tell him that because I had him since he was younger. I don't have what women have to support newborns and things of that nature, but I don't have a problem putting a pillow on my shoulder and have you laying right there, even now at 16.
Right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Looking to start a podcast, live stream, make a presentation, or perform on stage? Samson has all the gear you need to help you become a successful content creator. To learn more, visit samsontech.com.
Welcome back to Embracing the Journey podcast. This is extremely interesting because there was one other fella that was black that had two kids, but they were girls and they were younger. So it's interesting hearing the male perspective of another male, especially in the teenage years. I don't have any kids. What are some challenges that you faced dealing with a son of mixed race, being called everything but his name, especially when it comes to racial terms? Because I'm assuming with a mixed race kid, your kid is not black enough to be with the black guys, or not white enough to be with the white guys, or not Mexican enough to be with the Mexican guys. So unfortunately, and this is just my humble opinion, maybe my experience, not my personal experience, but does he suffer from like an identity crisis? Does he have trouble figuring out why certain groups aren't accepting him?
6 days ago, we just had this conversation.
So
my
it's fresh.
son and I, 6 days ago, we literally just had this conversation. And it was a conversation of identity, of efficacy. That's what it was. It was like, who am I? I don't really know. I don't know what I belong in. And maybe I'm oversharing, but I don't know. He broke down, y'all. He broke down. So if you watching this, yeah, I said it. But
it's coming from a safe place.
Yeah, it's from a safe place. But he broke down, and I was just like, wow, that explains all his behavior. Yes, he's also been subjected to being ostracized by or other communities, right? Even sub-communities now, right? Because now there's this thing in high schools, because he's in high school. High schools are so fun. But there's this thing where there's a light-skinned crew and a dark-skinned crew, right? And I'm like, what is this? And apparently if you don't meet this shade, then you are not ostracizing, because he's mixed, and it's enough mixed children that attend the school that they have enough presence to not be like super ostracized. But there is the black people, there's the white group, right? Then you have like the mixed kids, and then you have like the light skin versus the dark skin in the subgroups, and then in the white groups you have like the smart groups, and then you have the people who want to be socially accepted, white identified people that are intermingling in the other groups. So yeah, it's always that. He's constantly coming to me and saying, hey, this person is this. And what I reiterate and what I like to explain to him is that people are going to be them. You can't really control that. What you have to do is establish a set of standards for yourself that you know aren't going to affect you in a negative way. If it makes you feel this way and you are feeling bad, then that is not a standard or a value that you should have. So if you see that in a person, it's okay. It's okay to switch friends. It's okay to have 60 best friends, but it's also okay to have none.
I'm loving this.
Thank you.
I'm loving the energy. I'm loving the positivity. I'm loving how open you are. But most importantly, what I am loving is how much support and love that you've given your son through everything of being a teenager in high school now.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being a dad or a mom and not being able to protect my kids from their peers. I wanted to ask you about something. When your son brought this to you, you know, Dad, these people are making fun of me because I'm not as dark as them. Or Dad, these people are making fun of me because I'm not as light as them. How do you navigate that? And it's kind of funny, right? Because we're sitting behind or in front of this big thing that says embrace. How are you letting your child know that it's okay to embrace that you're different, but you're you? How do you do that?
Next week on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
And there were times when I was just like, this is so difficult. I understand why men walk away from their children.
Really?
Yes. I am literally consciously daily making that effort because I've challenged myself because my father wasn't there.